Pluckley, Kent, a peaceful English village with a terrifying reputation. It's called the most haunted village in Britain. But among all the ghost stories, one stands out because it really happened. A woman burned alive by the riverside, and more than 100 years later, she's still seen there. In August of 1911, a woman named Sarah Sharp was gathering watercress near Pinnock stream. She was poor, quiet, and lived alone. The locals often saw her with a pipe in her mouth, foraging herbs with a basket on her arm. It was just another day until it wasn't. Locals would see her in the early mornings, a worn shawl around her shoulders, a wicker basket in hand, and a pipe resting in the corner of her mouth. She never smiled, never spoke. Just walked the same path day after day, until the day she didn't come back. No one knows exactly how it happened. Some say it was her pipe that sparked it. Others believe it was a stray ember from the dry grass. But one thing is certain. Sarah's clothes caught fire. Alone, far from help, her screams were swallowed by the trees. By the time anyone found her, she was lying by the stream, burned beyond recognition. A pile of scorched fabric in silence. Officially, it was ruled an accident. But those who live nearby say something never left that spot. She died alone by the stream, in silence. When they found her body, it was already cold. Her dress fused to her skin, her hands charred. The only witnesses, the trees, the water, the wind. There was no funeral, no obituary, just a simple note in the village record. Accidental fire. Victim S. Sharp. And for a while, it seemed like Sarah had been forgotten, erased like a smudge on a page. But the land remembered. Soon after her death, something changed by the stream. Walkers would pause, feel uneasy, as if watched. The wind turned still. Birds stopped singing. Dogs refused to go near the water. Then came the scent, faint, unmistakable. Burned cloth. The first reported sighting came in 1932. A railway worker walking home saw what he thought was a woman by the water, bent over, as if picking something. When he called out, she didn't move. As he stepped closer, she vanished into pink mist. Since then, dozens of sightings have followed. Some say she walks the same path every year on the anniversary of her death. Others claim to see her whenever the mist is thickest, always silent, always glowing red from within. They call her the Mist Lady now, because she doesn't appear fully, only partly, as if the fire that took her still keeps her from forming whole. Witnesses describe her as faceless, head bowed, arms limp. A faint reddish hue flickers through her dress, like embers that refuse to die. One teenager described seeing her near the water's edge. She looked like a candle through smoke, and then she was gone. In 2009, a well-known paranormal team arrived in Pluckley. What started as a routine investigation turned into one of their most disturbing cases. They set up thermal cameras, EVP recorders, and EMF meters along the banks of Pinnock stream. At first, nothing. Just wind, darkness, and the sound of flowing water. But at exactly 12:23 a.m., everything changed. One investigator's EMF reader began to spike violently, even though no electronics were nearby. A second later, a motion sensor triggered, and a cold mist swept across the camera lens. When they checked the thermal footage, It showed a faint human outline, slouched, still, glowing faint red. Then came the whisper. One of the recorders, untouched, captured a voice. Not mechanical, not distorted, just human. A woman's voice. Shaky, raw. One word, barely audible. Help. But the worst part? One of the investigators, moments later, felt heat on the back of his neck, as if someone had lit a match behind him. When they turned on a flashlight, there was nothing. But when they checked his neck, there was a fresh red mark, like a burn. It faded by morning. But none of them ever returned to that bridge again. Some say now this just stories. Fog and fear playing tricks on tired minds, but the ground by Pinnock Stream tells a different tale. It doesn't feel empty. It feels aware. Like it's watching. Like it remembers. Sarah Sharp's death was recorded in a single cold line in the village archive. But no record can erase pain. And some pain sinks so deep into a place, it becomes part of it. A scar in the earth, a memory that replays itself again and again. For those who dare to notice, this isn't a haunting that screams. It doesn't throw things or slam doors. It lingers, quiet, close. You don't see it, you feel it. In the silence, in the sudden chill, in the strange way sound seems to vanish when you stand near the bridge too long. Whether it's a ghost or just the shadow of what happened here, one thing is clear. Sarah never left. So if you ever find yourself walking near Pinnock Bridge and the wind suddenly stops and the air turns cold, don't speak. Don't look back. Just keep walking. Because if you do turn, you might see her. Dressed in ashes. Watching. Waiting. Still burning. Help, help.